My name is Erica Lorraine Spencer, and I remain subject to state surveillance and terrorism by the state of California that is operating a malicious targeting system which is referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices. And it is in violation of federal stalking statute 18 U.S.C. sections 2261A subsections 1 and 2. My website and podcast serve the public good by publishing evidence of the public entity's ceaseless engagement in a pattern of conduct intended to stalk and monitor via communication devices, surveil, harass, and terrorize an American citizen in concert with the people of the state of California. Documentation serves the lawful purposes of wide exposure, federal prosecution, and influencing federal legislation with policies specifically designed to punish, dismantle, and disincentivize an unprecedented targeting system by a public entity that acts in concert with the people of the state in order to criminally place under surveillance and terrorize an American citizen, which is a matter of public corruption in the state of California. Notice: intellectual property theft is particularly egregious and equally unlawful where the sole inventor and creator of the intellectual property is the targeted individual. Erica Lorraine Spencer, subject to the unconstitutional and inhumane government system of gang stalking, otherwise referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices, because of which the intellectual property created by the targeted individual, who is, in fact, Erica Lorraine Spencer, as the intellectual property also proves, serves to establish via evidence and expose the existence of criminal surveillance and thus an inherent threat posed by the U.S. government and the civilian population sharing engagement in the unlawful system. Such evidence, that includes all of the content created by Erica Lorraine Spencer, images, videos, audio, etc., belongs solely and entirely to Erica Lorraine Spencer only and is necessarily published online in order to protect her life, safety, and liberty as the targeted individual, who is also the intellectual property owner, no less protected from theft procured through targeting by a public entity. Theft of any intellectual property belonging to Erica Lorraine Spencer, which is necessarily committed while she, being both creator and inventor, remains oppressed by the public entity via criminal surveillance, is a criminal and inhumane means of infringement under all circumstances and not protected nor enforceable pursuant to any invalid or fraudulent acts of copyright, trademarks, patents, etc., including as it pertains to any ideas associated with or generated from the intellectual property or the intellectual property owner, Erica Lorraine Spencer, whether creative, business, or otherwise, nor does the intellectual property owner consent to any such means of infringement and theft.
Alrighty, this is the entity that's engaging in what is feigning a takeoff and doing cartwheels east Holt Boulevard at 1627. What Southwest Airlines was doing while I was at the post office, what UPS is doing, which is the United States military, is stalking with the people of the state. They're following me down Holt Boulevard. This is what I'm stating. And this is the side of the street where Stater Brothers is at. So they move to the side of this street when I go into the parking lot, stalking. This is still not a takeoff. Neither yesterday was UPS clearly engaging in any takeoff. That's very psychotic stalking. To do so in a plane, to do so as a population. Co-conspirator of murder, ND 485, yeah, handicap, 9AYB304, 67138X3, 7GHK873, 8TDR339, and they're stalking based on fear for them losing their lives trying to kill me. Co-conspirators of murder, they're demons. All right, this is the city full of that. This is what the United States is engaged in, and they are being judged for it. They're subject to what is judgment by virtue of what it is, which is demonic. Not just criminal, but demonic. This is Omnitrans that you know is gang stalking. All right, doing so while the entity is stalking in the path, now doing a cartwheel over Emporia Place. License plate 1613646, bus 1270. And doing a cartwheel in alignment with my person. You're looking at what they're doing while I'm at the San Bernardino County TAD office yesterday. Fabiola is being federally prosecuted. You saw the county engage in the criminal pattern of conduct. You saw the county engage in the criminal pattern of conduct while the fake son was over me at that county building. More than that, the U.S. military has provided the case against the state. Like I stated, has been the case. Like I've showed you through the evidence, can only be the case. Because these are not elite, sophisticated, intelligent, or competent men and women. These are homosexuals who are demon-possessed, who engage in sexual perversion while they practice witchcraft. And then they spiritually and then physically attack, which is what the U.S. military's purpose is and the creation of this union. To monitor in order to attack those like myself. And they lost in this. And they are stalking me because they're scared. They're very fearful because they've already lost. So why would UPS engage in this stalking? Why are you doing it? Because they are worthy of the cages that they're going to be put in, including the people of the state. This isn't even traffic. These are demons. They're all demons. And they're very, very much going to be locked up in facilities that are being built up. They're being erected to put the demon-possessed in. They're being erected to have them committed. They're being erected in order to protect the American public. And this is what this entity has reaped. So now they're stalking, like I stated, because they're fearful. This is Hope Boulevard and Vine Avenue, west of where they were stalking yesterday. And then they continued stalking back at the Ovid Family Community Library. And that is a very complete and thorough documentation evidence of the U.S. military stalking with the people of the state. That's P.O.C. These are demons. 5LGM748, stalking on the roads and the highways, stalking as businesses, stalking using commercial airline companies. That's psychotic. This is what they're doing in the miles east on the same street. Okay, that's the entity's mental illness that is put on full display. It is currently 6:12 a.m. where you're looking at psychopathic pacing. That's one after another. And that's what they're doing on the roads and the highways while you are now aware of the environment where demons that are mentally ill people are engaging in pacing all around you, monitoring you. And they're doing so in the sky space and on the roads and the highways. They do so while you are crossing paths with them while they're inside of any building. And they're mentally ill. They keep your genitalia under surveillance. They have sex with children. They have sex with those of the same gender, engage in promiscuity, all manner of demonic behaviors while they are serving Satan, gang stalking. That's a targeting system, but this is all surveillance. This is the service of Satan. This is the beast system. And it is centered around perverted sexual activity. It's a cult. All right. And this is what they have. This is what they think is a good idea to engage in blatant evidence. There will be no Ontario International Airport. And this is the prosecution of every commercial airline company who will be landed because they've shown themselves to be a threat to the public. They intentionally crash into things and kill people while they're gang stalking me. This is the U.S. military. These are the corporate entities. This is P.O.C. It is currently, while you're looking at one plane after another, and there's nothing published regarding, and no takeoff is occurring over Emporia Place. No takeoff is occurring what would be northwest from the airport, over the Ovid Family Community Library, over the Ontario City Hall. All right, and no demon is in that environment doing anything other than stalking. The Omnitrans is stalking, and the people of the state getting on the bus is stalking. This is what? Being in the library under the fake sun, in the environment with the state, being next to whatever it is that's next to me in order to engage in stalking. And then the vagina monitor keeping their back to you. That's Satan. This is the entity that is mentally ill. Okay? They don't have a purpose for existing. They don't. This is why they're suicidal. This is the P.O.C. It is currently, by the way, 6:14 a.m. This is mental illness. When those that don't have a purpose to exist and they're shown to be targeting you, this is the entity that is very quick to commit suicide. Okay? This is the P.O.C. It is currently 6:14 a.m. This is stalking from the Ontario Town Square. I took pictures at B Street. I took pictures at Fern and B Street. The entity's stalking, and then the entity's moving, evolving to what is Vine. This is Hope Boulevard. Then the entity's flying over the parking lot where you know Stater Brothers is engaging in the pattern of conduct. And Stater Brothers is already prosecuted successfully because the entity is following me to the venue. They're stalking. That's that pattern of conduct. And the entity engaged in what is aiding me again in what I didn't even need. It's prosecuting San Bernardino County. That's engaged in repeated kidnapping, criminal defamation, and also fraud. They're committing fraud. That's the pattern of conduct, and they're going to be federally prosecuted, and you're going to be subject to federal prison for the things that San Bernardino County has committed. San Bernardino County is being prosecuted while that same pattern of conduct is underway, while I both go to that state facilitating venue and also while I'm going everywhere else, because this is the criminal activity that the U.S. military, the people of the state, that San Bernardino County is committing while inside of that venue, where you have a right to privacy that San Bernardino County is violating. and they're demons that are monitoring you, working for San Bernardino County. You don't have privacy, and that's actionable. I'm gonna prosecute you for that. P.O.C. It's 6:15 a.m. Southwest Airlines stalking the entire H Street, and this is psychopathic pacing with them on Euclid, stalking in the path. 72617 Thomas 3. Everybody on the street, City of Ontario down here. This is a co-conspirator of murder. Tracking my steps in front of me. This is getting to state surveillance. 70056B2, and this is a demon. This is entirely demonic. And Southwest Airlines is on San Antonio and 8th Street, and their neighborhood is being federally prosecuted. Every single last one of them. The entire city of Ontario is being federally prosecuted. This is P.O.C. And this is the significance, what you see this demonic conduct, that's the significance of a fake son stalking with light, which again, the entire neighborhood is engaging in. This is the pattern of conduct. Doing so in front of 661 8th Street. I'm going to prosecute them, where they are, how they're engaging the P.O.C. And this is an entity that's engaging in what is murder as well. The police are not investigating when the people of the state murder, rape you, kidnap you. They're sharing in that pattern of conduct together. And this is entirely demonic. You prosecute the businesses for psychological torture and harassment. This is P.O.C. Okay? While the American Airlines, the commercial airline companies are engaging in that pattern of conduct. This is why the entity is being also deported. The entire population. P.O.C. That's stalking. Coming in the path, they're all stalking. License plate 6UME674, stalking with everybody. That's a lily white woman stalking a black woman, okay? That's the pattern of conduct, because that demon doesn't have a race. It is entirely inferior to me, though, and I'm going to prosecute where the facilitating venue where it lives. It's a vagina monitor. P.O.C. This is the U.S. military's pattern of conduct prosecuting the entire city of Ontario. This is San Antonio and 8th Street. P.O.C. at what is 7:16 a.m. Following into the city of Upland, just like following to San Bernardino County, where Fabiola is gang stalking. P.O.C. This is what the entity was doing on Hope Boulevard. This is what they're doing on Hope. Stalking. That's the U.S. military. That's the people of the state. This is the prosecution for treason. They commit murder. This is a surveillance system, and they're murderers, they're sex offenders, they're kidnappers, they're rapists, they're pedophiles. They are demon possessed. This is P.O.C.
Erica Lorraine Spencer here. The following is an audio version of video evidence that is captured for purposes of mass distribution, which is why I am capturing it and sharing it on the podcast for evidentiary purposes, and also to reveal the wealth of documentation that extends beyond what it is that I document on podcasts. Much of the video and images will be published onto the YouTube channel, the P.O.C., and it is also shared on the Google Drive. Again, this is for purposes of revealing what I remain subject to, which is federal group stalking and monitoring. It is a demonic system of state surveillance that the government is practicing in concert with the people of the state, and it should be known and well understood that for the government to engage in federal group stalking and monitoring, this is a crime that is committed with a criminal purpose to threaten the life of an American citizen. This is to conspire to murder and or permanently kidnap an American citizen while engaging in a perpetual sex offense in concert with the people of the state.
Look at the foolish U.S. military. These are suicidal terrorists. Marcelo Blanco is going to prison. That's the fake son that's covered up. And this is indeed targeting. And they fly right in alignment to me, stalking in the path in the city of Ontario, sharing the pattern of conduct with the city of Upland. It is the U.S. military's pattern of conduct. The U.S. military that's stalking me under the fake sun yesterday, while you were mindful of who is going to prison. It is Joy inside of the Upland Public Library, Adam Tuckerman inside of the Upland Public Library, Kiki inside of the Upland Public Library, who committed kidnapping with this entity. That's not law enforcement, and that was criminal summoning, and they're going to prison in this evidence of being targeted in Upland, being targeted inside of the Upland Public Library, where the people of the state sit in here engaging and stalking me all day long on behalf of that entity that just flew over the top of my head. They are going to federal prison. They're engaged in systematic monitoring, and it is the very demons that are created in the U.S., the U.S. military, of that which is symbolized right here. They're the ones engaging in terrorism in the U.S. Okay, there's nothing honorable about them. They are homosexuals who are psychotic. That's why they are stalking and terrorizing somebody who was I'm minding my own business, and my business includes exposing the demon-possessed that make up the U.S. military who are engaging in terrorism and the people of the state. This is Bill Velto. He's being removed from office. He's not staying in office. You have Colin Sheehy. They're psychopaths engaging in what is pacing around this perimeter while the entity keeps a fake sun over the Upland Public Library yesterday. And where was it, all day while I'm at the venue? Where is the fake sun where I am yesterday, not at this library? It's indicative of the evidence, which you're also seeing while the entity is stalking by helicopter, of the employees who are going to federal prison while they're engaging in surveillance. And covering up the fake sun is the tactic of the mentally ill. The mentally ill that are stalking as a population. Okay, engaging in surveillance in the bathroom stalls. That's what she's doing, and she's stalking right now as well. The entity is going to federal prison, and that's all that the city of Upland is accomplishing. Those that I've decided that have engaged in the pattern of conduct, and I have already spoken to and decreed through this evidence that they're going to prison, such as the employees at the Upland Public Library, such as anybody gang stalking me and kidnapping. Bill Velto is engaged in kidnapping with the Upland Police in 2022. I just want to be clear, the entity is going to be indeed subject to federal prison. Okay, they will not be treated any differently than the terrorists in Ontario, California, or the terrorist in Los Angeles, California, or the terrorist in San Bernardino, California. Daniel Goodman, he's not getting away with any sort of prosecution with regard to going to San Bernardino while he is still engaged in the pattern of conduct. I went to San Bernardino, and you know that. But the entities engaged in this P.O.C., and this is the foolishness, and that the level of foolishness that you're seeing while the entity is exposing itself is because they are, in fact, mentally ill. They are incompetent, incapable. They are idiotic. Okay? These employees that are inside, they're stalking with a whole population, and they're mentally ill. All they're doing is stalking with light. They walk up and down the stairs. They walk past me. They walk, sit down, stand up, go in and out of the bathroom, pacing, monitoring. P.O.C. That's the evidence putting, like I stated, all over my social media, and like the evidence shows for as a matter of history, while the entity's maintaining surveillance, they're already convicted. So you're talking about what is policy, legislation formation, and what is confirming those who are absolutely going to federal prison. It includes the severely mentally ill that are stalking in planes and helicopters. Marcelo Blanco, Daniel Goodman engaging in what is the pattern of conduct as an agency. They're not engaged in policing, and there will not be any police department. The San Bernardino County Fire Department, they're not engaged in firefighting. There will be no fire department. You're not engaged in the business of the people as a gang stalking mayor. While I'm outside of the city hall and I'm being gang stalked by the U.S. military, you are not staying in office. Neither is the Upland City Hall. It's the same P.O.C. And I want to be clear, the employees are going to federal prison. And that's what you're witnessing while you're gang stalking me. You're witnessing the ongoing confirmation, which the world is witnessing. You are going to federal prison as surely as you keep my vagina under surveillance as the violent sex offenders engaging in treason in the United States. This is P.O.C. It is currently 9:33 a.m. under the fake sun that is covered up. And there is no hour where you're going to cover it up and then show it at the end of the day. Joy's going to federal prison with regard to the exposed criminal engagement in the pattern of conduct. She's engaging in psychopathic behavior with her co-defendants who are sharing in psychopathic behavior, such as stalking me by helicopter outside of the venue where she works. P.O.C. These are the people of the state that are gang stalking with the U.S. military that's flying over and stalking. And they're doing so with knowledge that they're being documented, covering up the fake sun. But you already knew that even before I'm at San Bernardino County TAD office. And these are the people of the state that are going to be subject to martial law, losing custody of the demon-possessed children that they give birth to keep us under surveillance, monitoring us, and their sex offenders maintaining surveillance in the bathroom. The employees at this venue are subject to prison. This is P.O.C., and this is the Upland City Hall that's sharing in surveillance. This is the mentally ill population that are engaging in the pattern of conduct. They are engaged in murdering, kidnapping. They're engaged in pedophilia. They're engaged in criminal activity with the U.S. military, which is terrorism, and this is the prosecution for treason. This is Upland, California at Upland Public Library, and it is currently 10:01 a.m., and they are all here to engage in surveillance, which is the role of the people of the state in the United States. P.O.C. What you don't want to do is touch me. That's a battery. It's a battery. This is the P.O.C. This is up in public library that's stalking by the helicopter. This is up in police that are being prosecuted, and that's a battery while he's being documented. P.O.C. He's the one parked at the end. This is why they're being documented for gang stalking. That's the mental illness. P.O.C.
This lady right here. What the fuck?
Going to here. I'm not crossing the street. Going here.
I have friends that
Hold on. P.O.C. Following. This is following. This is a stalker. That's the pattern of conduct. That's the P.O.C. That's upland police that are engaging in that pattern of conduct through the people of the state. All right? You have no privacy interest in the first place, and they're engaging in surveillance together. And this is after they engage in stalking by helicopter, okay? This is the city of Upland, and you're going to prison for that. He's the vehicle parked right here. He is going to prison. P.O.C. Okay, it is currently 10:37 a.m. This is the entity that's engaging in surveillance. So the third party that's parked along Euclid Avenue, they're all one entity. So these are not strangers that are separate. They are, and this is an entity that's engaged in monitoring together. So the entity that's, again, Upland Unified School District that's hostile, Molly Super that's hostile, the Upland COLLIN SHEEHY, and all the vagina monitors of the San Bernardino County Fire Department, all of them that were sharing in the pattern of conduct, flying and stalking and terrorizing by helicopter, are being documented as I go through and get their license plates. All of that, which is fully exposed, and there's no privacy. And because you don't like it, doesn't mean that you have any. First of all, they're gang stalking. This is the entity. You're going to prison for that. But also, even where they're exercising fictitious authority under the illusion of having privacy, you don't have any in your license plate. And you're engaging what is harassing me while they orchestrated that. He sat there, waited for me to walk by, and it doesn't matter. This is the previous video, what you'll see. It's inaudible. I'm getting license plates. And then he engages in what is following me around, using his cell phone, doing the exact same thing. This is why the entity is unintelligent in what they're doing, while you're violating the same law and you're reporting that which is not a violation of the law. And you're doing that because you're being documented for actually violating the law. And they're doing that with knowledge that they're being documented. This is a psychopath that's engaging in stalking in helicopter in the first place. And this is the entity that does so together. So this is the city of Upland. That's what I'm getting to. The city of Upland's engaging in harassment. The city of Upland is speaking to, oh, your friends are Upland PD, the same Upland PD that's stalking by helicopter at the Upland Public Library. And this demon gets out of his vehicle at the moment that I'm documenting. So this is the psychotic conduct. You are already monitoring. They're in the building knowing that I'm documenting. They're gang stalking. This is why when the fake sun's not covered up, it's over my head at this office. This is the entity that's stalking with light. Stalk with impossible light. 7 Apple Queen Edward 206. You already know that I'm stalking, so you wait until I walk by, and that is where you would state, oh, I saw her. That's a psychopath. Okay, and you saw me doing nothing that is unlawful at all, but the entity is going to prison for that. This is following me into the Vaughn's grocery store, Chin, that's going to prison while they're stalking you by helicopters and as a department, and following you regarding what is not suspicious at all whatsoever. This is the entity that doesn't like it. That is not a violation of the law, but they don't even have authority under the law. I'm speaking to how they engage in harassing people, and you're going to federal prison for that. They do this while they are psychologically torturing you, monitoring your vagina, stalking you as an entity, molesting you, stalking you with light, and like you saw on video, stalking in a helicopter. This is the city of Upland. That, again, Marcelo Blanco, he's not remaining in position. I'm going to federally prosecute him. He's gang stalking and harassing with the entity, stalking, making the U-turns right here, 8 CEH 655. This is the iteration of stalking with light. Spectrum's maintaining light activity over here. This is the entity that's engaging in that. This is what COLLIN, SHEEHY, San Bernardino County. This is Daniel Muncie. He's not a fire chief. He's not staying in position. And this is the entity that's engaging in gang stalking, engaging in terrorism and furtherance of murder, and then has a disdain for being documented, identified as the terrorists that they are. This is the P.O.C. This is currently 10:40 a.m. This is going within the body of evidence against the entity that are targeting with the U.S. military. Very unintelligent. Merely hostile sex offenders, that's it. But there is no strategy here. They're engaging in what is criminal activity, and then they just don't want to be identified and associated with them. You're already identified. You are going on my social media as well, however. That's the entity that's engaging, and these are the demons that are monitoring. Upland Unified School District, harassing and stalking, 9 Nancy Apple Kelly 590. These are sex offenders engaging in terrorism with the city of Upland via helicopter. And then they're harassing me because they're being documented. They're already on the record. They will not be maintaining a job. Even the children that they have access to, pursuant to martial law, will not be going to school. They're not interested in education. They're not interested in firefighting. They're not interested in policing, law enforcement, protecting and serving. They're engaged in surveillance, and that's why the city of Upland is going to be subject to martial law. And this is that lawlessness that I'm capturing in order to prosecute, civilly and criminally. This is P.O.C. It's currently 10:41 a.m. Interesting. And stalkers, they've been gang stalking for a long time. They're not learning any emergency. This is monitoring. They're engaged in surveillance. This is the elements of monitoring. Where they are stalking in the road, on the roads and the highways. This is P.O.C. 9YDB 419. This is American Medical Response that's going to be permanently removed from the ability to operate any ambulance services. City of Upland, Upland Police Department is gang stalking with the Upland City Hall and the Upland Public Library, San Bernardino County Fire. P.O.C. That's activity creation. 19709U3, vehicle 10574. They're gang stalking. Okay? License plate. 7HGW261, 9DKA473, 9AQC551, 9TUA479, 9WFP216, 6YSL854, 8KVU935, ED26N46 paper, 9SXW364, Boomerang Transportation Incorporated is gang stalking, license 37342D4, 9EUF302, and they engaged in what is harassment by the third party whose license plate is going to be highlighted regarding federal prison, and the entity that's engaged in what is surveillance, which is what American Medical Response is engaging in. There's an emergency, and they're stopped at the light like everybody else. There are no emergencies that they're learning about. There is no scene that they have to rush to where they're learning about an emergency. It's criminal monitoring. It is the P.O.C. And the Upland Public Library is gang stalking. The Upland City Hall is gang stalking. San Bernardino County Fire is gang stalking while I am here documenting, and the entity is engaged in criminal monitoring with that population. This is P.O.C. This is the entity engaged in what is harassment, terrorism, psychological torture. And while they are engaged in the pattern of conduct, these, in other words, are nothing other than demons that are hostile, that you know that they're creatures and that they're demon-possessed. These are sex offenders that know that that also are hostile because you know that they're stalking and monitoring you. And that includes the demons of Upland City Hall, the city of Upland, the entity that's engaged in that together. Okay? Totally illegitimate. Absolutely illegitimate, engaging what is harassment because of hostility to being documented as a terrorist that they are. That's why the entity stalked me by helicopter this morning. And you are not learning, and you're not doing anything other than gang stalking in that same environment. P.O.C. You don't maintain any rights under the law, they're going to be prosecuted for all of that. You don't have any rights, you're not going to an emergency, you don't have any privacy in the first place in any license plate. At all. And you're a whole stalker waiting to walk by and act like you just came upon something that's not even anything that should be concerned with you anyway, especially if you're not violating the law. And any and everyone, including the gang stalkers of Upland Police, are noting your license plate on an ongoing basis. So you're following me around with your cell phone because you're gang stalking. They're idiots who are stalking by helicopter right here. And they're all documented. They're all documented. P.O.C. That was criminal summoning, 10:46 a.m. This is P.O.C. American Medical Response, and repeat it again. Fake sun right here over me at the Upland City Hall. The entity has the fake sun over me while I'm at 1627 East Hope Boulevard, where the entity is engaging in surveillance and then harassment while you're being documented, while you're acting in furtherance of murdering somebody, running out, gang stalking at a government facilitating venue. All right, he's not staying in office. That is Bill Velto. He's not staying in office. It's impossible light activity. The sun is over me at 1627 East Holt. It's not over both. There's not more than one sun. This is P.O.C. That's criminal summoning. Hi, quick question. This is P.O.C. This is the Upland City Hall that's monitoring on the inside of this building. Hi, is there a way for me to access information that lists all of those that are holding position right now on the Upland City Council? Do you have like something that
You could go to the city clerk's office. I'm sure they could give you that information.
Oh, across the hall?
Yeah, just go right down this little hallway here,
Okay.
and you could go over to city clerk.
Okay.
It's just right over there down this hallway, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you.
And then when you get down at the end of this hallway, just go right.
Okay, thank you. All right, this is impossible light activity while the fake sun's over me in Ontario, where Upland police are stalking by helicopter, flying over my head at this Civic Center area. This is the fake sun at 10:49 a.m. City clerk, city manager, all their offices they're monitoring. Good morning. Quick question. Is there a way that I can get information about who is on the, well, I just want information, something that you can, maybe tangible that you can give me that lists those that are holding position for the city of Upland right now, for the Upland City Council?
I don't have anything tangible.
Nothing?
You can go online on our website. You can see.
For the city of Upland?
Yes.
Okay, so it'll show, I figured I could do that, but I wanted to see if you guys, this was the city hall, so I was like, maybe you guys had like something with their pictures or something on it, or?
No, it's all online.
Okay.
So if you go on our website,
Okay. And
we have it there.
deputy city clerk, oh, deputy city clerk and the city clerk, I'll take these two.
Okay.
What were you going to tell me? Were you going to say something else?
No, like, I think, let me see if the website is listed here. Oh, yeah, the website's listed in the back.
Okay, thank you. And you guys had city council meeting on,
Every second and fourth Monday of the month.
so it was just last Monday, right?
Yeah.
That's what I thought. Okay. Thank you. Have a good day. They're in here monitoring. This is Crossing Path. Doing the exact same thing at the laundromat, at the Superior Grocer at 815 North Euclid Avenue. Doing this exact same thing inside of the 7-Eleven. Doing the exact same, where they're stalking inside of the venue. They're stalking with regard to those that are in position that they are going to be removed from. Okay, this is the Upland City Council. Bill Velto is a terrorist, and he's being removed from office while the Upland police are stalking me by helicopter. Right out here. And they're gang stalking coming into the building itself. This is terrorism, and you will not maintain a city hall. You will not maintain some position that you're being paid for when all you're doing is maintaining criminal surveillance and targeting American citizens. It is treason. All right, and this is the city of Upland engaging in that, and this is the city of Upland harassing because you're being documented as such. All right, that's audacity on top of what is lawlessness. Okay, this is P.O.C. and Upland's Public Library is as much of a government venue as the Upland City Hall. It's the same city of Upland, where the fake sun is here in the morning like you see now, but yesterday the homosexuals of the U.S. military were gang stalking me on Hope Boulevard, maintaining plain and fake sun over me as I'm walking east, and they kept that fake sun over the Ontario Civic Center, which is not in Upland. It is not over me. It is not creating, under any circumstances, any sunlight flat on the ground inside of that building. That's impossible light activity. They're monitoring spirits, they're demons. And that's also what, you know, while the entity is stalking me by helicopter. This is P.O.C. I did go around the block documenting all these terrorists coming in with their demon-possessed children, engaging what is the pattern of conduct, which is the role of the people of the state, and they engage in what is harassing because they are being documented as what they are. Terrorists, gang stalkers, vagina monitors, sex offenders. P.O.C. Upland Public Library, 10:54 a.m. Excuse me.
Do you know if you guys have study rooms available offhand?
I only have this little one.
This one?
If you want the little one. The other one's literally just not checked out.
Yeah, I'm sure it's 10 o'clock. Okay, I'll just check out a laptop for now.
You don't want the little one?
I've never been in there. It's kind of weird. Have you been in there? It's like a room, a trap.
It's like a little phone. Yeah.
Maybe if I'm really, really desperate one day for... yeah, for a second. Okay. Here's my cards. Right? Oh, okay, that's right. Do you have any disinfecting wipes, please? Yeah, you're the only one that knew about them, and then they disappeared when you left. They left. Okay. Thank you, ma'am. All right, you have a good one. Let's see. Oh boy. All right, the entity has the fake sun over the Upland Public Library, and it's over me at the same time at 1627 East Holt. This is where you're understanding Joy, Adam, Tuckerman, Kiki, Allen, the entity that you just listened to, Carissa. You're talking about what is the entity that's going to prison for systematic engagement and systematic facilitation, and they're hostile terrorists that harass you while you are documenting, and that's the government that's harassing you. Psychotic, absolutely psychotic. Wants to stalk you in things like helicopters and provide that absurd and bizarre level of evidence against itself for being so idiotic to do it on camera, and then harassing you while you document it. You're going to be committed. That's exactly what's going to happen. They're the same population engaged in surveillance in bathroom stalls, stalking with light, all under what is a light source that's not even a natural environment, and nobody's supposed to notice that, nobody's supposed to say anything, and you're supposed to be no, they are the exception regarding what is mental illness that's identified as a categorical assessment regarding a population. And they are together sharing in that, including while the fake sun's remaining in Ontario, and it's over in Upland. And you know that it's still remaining in Upland as a matter of pattern of conduct, because these employees are gang stalking me, pacing all around at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. For example, when I'm documenting the American Medical Response engaging in criminal summoning this morning is the same American Medical Response engaging in criminal summoning at 2:21 and 2:25 p.m. where this fake sun is still over this roof. Okay, you're engaging in harassment. You're an unstable psychopath and a violent sex offender, and you will be committed on top of what is being federally prosecuted for the pattern of conduct, which is all occurring in furtherance of murder. This is beyond criminal activity. This is what is terrorism levied against American citizens, and this is a prosecution for it. These are all the facets of treason, the intricacies of treason. All right, as a population that's mentally ill is engaging in what is targeting someone, and not only have they lost that because it was supposed to be secretly executed, now you're watching them overtly show the threat that they are to the public, and that's why they're going to be isolated via martial law. That's why they're going to be treated, and the offspring that they bring into existence who are monitoring us are also going to be isolated. This is P.O.C. It's currently 10:59 a.m. All right, it is currently 2:38 p.m. and as is the case upon entry of this venue, and even before entry of this venue, the entity is engaging in the hallmark of stalking by helicopter. Okay, and the entity, while I'm at the Veterans Monument area, that's the entrance, that's the Upland Civic Center. That is, by the way, the epicenter regarding the P.O.C, just like at the Ontario Civic Center, where you're talking about the mayor, the city council, the government venues, the city library, the city properties such as the town square. In Upland, that would be like the Veterans Monument, the Upland City Hall, the city library. This is where the entities engage in criminal surveillance. And this is what is occurring as I'm documenting that before entry of this venue. 9:34 a.m. Not the first time that Marcelo Blanco, this is the U.S. military, targeting me in the city of Upland. This is the state of California, while the cities are sharing in the pattern of conduct, which is psychopathic, sexually violent, psychologically torturous. And it is also that which is inhumane and cruel. They're going to be prosecuted for that. This is treason, because Upland is targeting with the nations outside of the U.S. Ontario is targeting with nations outside of the U.S. And Upland and Ontario in particular, they committed kidnapping. So these demons are going to prison and they're going to be disbanded. And they are demonstrating the fact that they are full throttle still engaging in terrorism in the United States, in the face of the federal government, engaging in treason. Very audacious conduct with regard to any other nation that would call itself provoking the U.S., challenging the U.S., initiating war, engaging in war conduct against the U.S. This is what the U.S. is doing in the United States of America. You need to understand that. This is what the people of the state who are terrorists are doing in the United States of America. They're going to be locked down. It's going to be martial law. Okay. But I want to be clear, before entrance into the venue, the entity is engaged in terrorism by helicopter, and not the first time I'm subject to terrorism at the Upland Public Library, the epicenter, meaning what is going on at the civic center in that city is going on throughout that entire city. It's more than fair to say. Also, the evidence shows that. Where you have a supernatural occurrence such as a fake sun over me, everybody is going down, the entire city. So this is the entity that's engaging in that, and they're maintaining what is the covered up fake sun, as though you're going to forget what Fabiola and UPS are doing together while I'm at 1627 East Holt Boulevard. I remained there for a series of hours from approximately 8 during the 8 a.m. hour until after 12 p.m. The entity kept the fake sun stationary over me, stalking with planes, doing cartwheels in alignment to my person under the fake sun that's directly over the top of my head at the entrance doors of the San Bernardino County Transitional Assistance Department, engaging what is flying over the building over my head, the U.S. military using small government planes. The moment that I open the front door, all manner of targeting, clear-cut targeting, as though you're going to forget that, oh, we'll just cover up the fakes on the next morning, and then that's throwing off the pattern, and there's no stalking shown, and there's nothing that you can be part of. These are vagina monitors, okay? Blatant sex offenders that are lacking in any intelligent quotients, okay? Any intelligence quotient. The IQ is severely lacking, and that's because these are demons that engage in, they don't actually work hard, they don't actually earn anything they have. The demon possessed, that is Satan, he doesn't create anything. He's a copycat, he's a thief, he's an imitator, he's a liar, he's a fraud, and a charlatan. He's a criminal and a violent one, and that is making up a population of people who are showing you the deviance. They are showing you the depths of depravity. They are showing you the debased state of a people, and that is where you are engaging in terrorism with those that even have newborn children. That's speaking to, there's no exception regarding the pattern of conduct. In fact, criminals take on that appearance before you in order to try to deceive you. Okay, it is no deception. You're looking at something that you would be equally creeped out and nauseated by under the fake sun, whether they're pushing that demon in a stroller or whether that demon is wearing a police uniform. It is the same entity. Okay, so the subject that is engaging stalking at the Upland Public Library, that's engaging in what is very foolish conduct with regard to a clear-cut prosecution. The subject is maintaining relevant positioning inside of the library and is doing so under the fake sun, while the entity is maintaining what is psychopathic pacing. That's what they're doing on foot inside of the library, walking up and down the stairs, going in and out of the doorways, coming in and out of the library entrance, coming in and out of the study rooms, walking in between the book stacks, maintaining presence at all of the cubicles. All they're doing is stalking me. I am the focal point. And your ability to know that also is not merely someone stating things that are unsubstantiated with evidence, literally science that betrays the demons themselves, are exposed with a fake sun that is nowhere in Ontario, and it is still remaining over me inside of the Upland Public Library, which is the case upon entrance during the 10 a.m. hour. It's 2:43 p.m. So the subject that is sitting in close proximity, which is a threat, I will prosecute for that ongoing threat. Just because I do not succumb to a threat, just because I'm not actually fearful of that threat, it is nonetheless a threat by the U.S. military, who are using all races, all ages, and all manner of backgrounds, convicted sex offenders and sex offenders yet to be identified and appropriately convicted and labeled for the benefit of the public. The entity, because I'm not actually fearful, the standard is not actual fear, it is reasonable fear. And you are absolutely reasonably fearful of a government that is engaging in the psychotic means of stalking, like is exposed at the Upland Public Library by helicopters. And that is very targeted because the entity keeps a fake sun over the Upland Public Library, which is in conformity to a pattern of conduct where I'm being stalked in places like the bathroom, where the subject is acting with a population that's merely coming into a library where all of their minor children are illiterate. And their purpose is not to learn how to read and excel. Their purpose is to monitor. And this is why you have lawlessness exacerbated by illiteracy. And this is where you have a lawless population that are puppets to this system. Okay? Blatant disregard regarding the inhumanity that children are a part of while you're stalking an American citizen, a human being with helicopters. That's what their children are a part of. They're not learning how to read. And this is what is responsible for why did the Upland Unified School District have a job? They will not. They're not going to. But this is understanding the illusion regarding everything that the demon-possessed society is maintaining so that they are appearing pursuant to the illusion. Okay, being at the TAD office in Ontario, which is San Bernardino County, and you're asking me, oh, have I been convicted of this? And do you have any background in that? And has anybody been added to your household? And do you have any change in your You know everything about it, psycho. You're stalking me, literally during the course of the phone call. That's maintaining an illusion. And then when you're getting to this level of evidence, now you're just looking crazy. This is patently absurd. But this is the entity that's engaging in that, and the illusion is gone. So the entity is literally tricking itself. You're tricking yourself into thinking that you're not going into a mental institution. You're tricking yourself into thinking that you're not going to be deported, subject to federal prison, etc., etc. Because there is no successful objective regarding gang stalking me, and doing so in the way that the city of Upland did so is an act of desperation, okay? That's a threat to national security, all right? That's a threat to all of you who are witnessing it. Now, I want to be clear, the subject that is gang stalking inside of the venue in close proximity is under the fake sun. This is documented for you to see. And this is also crossing racial lines, where you're understanding the distraction that is racism, regarding the spiritual truths that demons know about, wanting to instill a distracting force with regard to what is a sense of inferiority, which is creating an illusion in your mind, distracting you regarding your identity and who you are, and you are not the color of your skin. And if this were the case, there would not be what you see stalking me, while also maintaining what are hateful doctrines and ideas regarding communities that are racist. That's a whole illusion. It's a distraction. It's demonic. The entity is engaging in what is targeting, and it shows that there is no genuine. It's genuine insofar as a racist really believes. They're really passionate. They really do feel those things about you, but feelings are irrelevant. They're deceived by demons. They're being used by demons. It's Satan. Okay. So this is also shown while you have those of that are typically a part of what we understand as the I would say the narrative regarding an inferiority between a black man, a black woman, and the white counterpart, but you're stalking me. Is that because you actually feel as though, and I'm not stating that the subject has to actually be racist, but I will say, because it's a spirit, you are inclined to all those things. You're vulnerable because you are demon possessed, so Satan uses you however. Just want to say that. But nonetheless, this is not to say that the subject is particularly racist. This is giving you an example regarding how the color of your skin is absolutely irrelevant, and it has been used as by Satan to distract away from what is the identity regarding literal royalty of those who are melanated even. All right. And Satan knowing that, demons knowing that. And that's also why this country historically has targeted that people. Also why this country has engaged in, when they engage in things like targeting such as slavery, targeting such as infusing drugs into the communities and incarceration. With regard to the murder rate, targeting those of that's relevant to what is not a sense of inferiority. It's not because you are lesser than, it's because it is a means of targeting in this, understand regarding spiritual identity. And this is the significance of knowing who you are. And who you are is not your race. But it is a means of targeting those who are of a particular identity based on what is royal lineage, okay? Those that are related to within the descendant, the royal bloodline, descendants of Christ, literally. And yes, they are melanated, okay? But there's a lot that has happened historically. That's not the case now. And you're talking about all colors of the rainbow that are a part of the descendants of Christ because of what has happened historically. You're talking about slavery, raping women, murdering them. That's changing what is the, so there's no such thing as a pure bloodline. In other words, that's what I'm stating. But it absolutely started with seeking to indoctrinate melanated people with a sense of inferiority. And you do that by targeting them with drugs, targeting them with poverty, targeting them with self-hatred and hatred amongst each other and slavery, etc. So these are tactics, but it's born of a lie, okay? And it's also equally false to suggest that only black people, melanated people are saved. That's the same deceptive spirit, because that's not the case. The Lord God said that Jew and Gentile, first of all. He came to save both. And you're talking about going out into the world, paraphrasing, but the Lord God commanded especially his disciples, go out into the world, all nations, and make disciples. This is not about any sort of specific race that is a means of identity, but it is, the kingdom of God is not about race and the color of your skin and the texture of your hair. This is Satan that's focusing on the carnal. And it is a distraction, and it's a very deceptive and effective distraction. But it does start with those who are melanated, and Satan knows that, and this is why you have a lot, especially with the United States, and the purpose of the U.S. military has been from the outset to engage in what they're doing now, targeting those that they know are called, that are a part of Christ, the descendants of Christ, okay? And the entity is monitoring. And so while they are in the spirit identifying you, they are in the physical trying to distract you or make you feel as though lesser than that. And that's if you succumb to that. And many have. They might state that they have, but you have, in ways in which you are perhaps not even consciously aware of. But my point is to say, if all of that were true, the entity betrays itself by having white people stalking me. That's the bottom line. If this is the case, why are you stalking me? It's not because you feel as though you're better than me. That's not why you're stalking. And you are stalking. You're obsessively stalking. You're stalking my genitalia. You're monitoring it. You're obsessed with it. Is that because I'm inferior to you? Just entertaining all the false narratives, all the ideas that we even sit around pontificating and debating about and getting all in an uproar. The police are murdering black people on television, on the internet, to get you emotional, to instill a spirit of fear. And they're targeting you with black people as well. Who do you think is gang stalking in California? They are not my brethren. You are not my brother and my sister. Literally, Tracy Banks and Eric Spencer are not. Okay, this is your identity is based on who you are spiritually speaking, and the descendants of Christ have been targeted from the beginning. That is literally the purpose of the formation of the United States, contrary to what we were told and indoctrinated with. And I know all about that indoctrination. I studied it. I'm trained in it. okay, in politics and in the law. So there is the illusion and then there is the reality, and I'm also well acquainted with both. Being inundated with the reality, which is a direct contrast to literally what I wholeheartedly support, which I'm still enforcing the Constitution. It doesn't change the legitimacy of the law itself, which is why the law is so wonderful. But because that remains pure, it becomes unjust in the hands of the corrupt. Okay, but the law itself is not evil. It can be used for evil purposes. It can be abused and exploited by evil people. All right, evil entities. But nonetheless, the subject is engaging in what is stalking. And if you want to include demographics, this is just a teachable moment. This is just giving you example after example. You have a demonic entity of all races and all ages that are targeting, and you are based on your identity, which is not your carnal appearance, as much as Satan would like for you to feel that way and try to make you feel lesser because of that. And that is literally impossible. You have to give Satan permission to do that. But I just want to be clear, that only happens in our ignorance. It only happens in our ignorance. And there's been, by the way, I just want to be clear again, there's been so much that's happened historically. The descendants of Christ are going to be all colors of the rainbow, because there is no such thing as any purity. They engaged in enslaving, they engaged in raping, they engaged in shipping us off to all corners of the globe. Okay, so you're talking about all manner of, but those that are chosen, just like Scripture says, those that belong to Him, Satan, there is no curse, there is no infiltrating any bloodline, there is no witchcraft, there is no targeting by a government that is going to snatch you out of His hand. Nothing. No spirit, no circumstance, nothing. Paraphrasing, but that's what Scripture says. Nothing. He knows exactly who you are. He knows when you're born. He knows where you're at. He knows all the tactics of the devil, including gang stalking, which is demonic. And they are targeting because of royalty status, not because of inferiority. It's the exact opposite. And that's not a matter of pride and gloating. That's a matter of reality, knowing your identity. And this is also another reason why those of you who are subject to gang stalking, there is no reason for you to feel as though you are lesser, or that's a spirit that would want you to feel like, oh, you should kill yourself, or you're a loser. They're worshiping you. And I also want to be clear, it's not just those that are descendants of Christ that will be targeted. This is a surveillance system, so they will also engage in killing their own. This is what LAPD is doing in Los Angeles. That was the people of the state that they murdered in the middle of the street on the skateboard. They sacrifice all the time. The entity, the demons, Satan does not have authority to take out a child of God. And that's where gang stalking is going to fall short. And they end up sacrificing themselves, and that is the P.O.C. That's what you're witnessing. It's a testimony to that. All right, but I will get to what is the subject. That is gang stalking inside of the library, and she is under the fake sun on May 11th, 2026 at the Upland City Hall, where you see me this morning on video. During the 10 a.m. hour. And I'm standing at that same Upland Memorial while they're having the Upland City Council meeting, which I intentionally asked her about when I went inside the state facilitating venue, Upland City Hall. Okay, they had their city council meeting on Monday, and the entity was maintaining a fake sun, and the subject is gang stalking and at the Veterans Monument, which is the same location. It's right outside of the doors of the library where the fake sun is over me right now at 1:56 p.m. and it's present at 6:49 p.m. Stalking. Okay, stalking with the city of Upland. That's maintaining criminal surveillance through the course of an Upland City Council. You will not be keeping an Upland City Hall and a mayor and a city council. You don't need it. You're not even engaging in what is anything legitimate by it, through it, with it. You're not going to have it. You're not keeping it. You're not staying in office. I'm just pointing out their criminal pattern of conduct, and as they engage in it, they demonstrate the fact that, oh, you're not keeping that. Whatever you use, you're going to lose. Okay, that includes their children. So the entity is engaging in this pattern of conduct, and the subject is under the fake sun inside of the library at 1:50 p.m. Stalking. The entity is under the fake sun that I'm showing you on May 11th at 3:19 p.m. This is where the subject is stalking right now inside of the library. That's the identification of the entity that is stalking. The fake sun is captured on May 11th at 2:34 p.m. where the subject is sitting inside of the library stalking. The same window at 2:31 p.m. at 2:21 p.m. The same windows regarding the Upland Public Library. I'm capturing the fake sun outside at 10:10 a.m. where the subject is stalking in relevant position, close proximity to me. stalking. On March 9th, as I documented, at 5:38 p.m. outside of the same window, the subject is sitting in relevant position, stalking, where no sun is going to be present for that duration of time from 10:10 in the morning, we'll just say that, until 5:38 on Monday. It was after 6 p.m. That's not the sun, and that's the identification of a stalker. And then you can analyze who is stalking you. Demons are stalking you, and demons don't have a race. Moreover, it's been a distraction for Satan to use demographics to cause those who are royal descendants of Christ to feel as though you are lesser than. All right, racism is a distraction, and it is born of it's a demonic spirit. It's demonic. Okay, but this is why you're sitting in the library and you're clearly stalking me, and I am the focus. I'm the reason why you're here, including while you're employed here. If that weren't the case, you wouldn't be working under the fake sun, and while you're doing so, you are going to prison. So the entity is maintaining this pattern of conduct and is doing so while they are monitoring. You're cowards. Okay, sounding sirens while the subject is stalking in close proximity while they're pacing all around. And those that are under the age of majority sharing in mental illness. And it's no mystery that they cannot adequately read. Okay, they can't comprehend if they can read. Okay, they can't apply any analysis if they can read and tell you what it is that they read. Okay, their job once they're born, two demons, is to engage in monitoring. And this is what the government has created, a population. All right, and tried to target the children of God with regard to that. And you cannot do that. It's impossible. He already conquered Satan, his demons, death, and the grave. He already conquered it. This is a spiritual truth, which makes it a physical truth. It's impossible. All right, but these are non-believers. These are fools. And they believe if you take a section out of the Bible, then it doesn't exist anymore, and it's not true. That's why you're going to prison. They're going to prison. All right, this is an entity that's highly delusional. Mental illness is very real, and it is a threat to national security while a population is stalking in this manner. They're engaged in obsessively trying to monitor, that is, interfere with the use of the internet. This is the same entity that's stalking in outside while I'm documenting your license plate. You're stalking me by helicopter as an entity. I'm going to document you. And then you're also not going to interfere with that while you are harassing. And that's what the city of Upland did. He followed me around. He is the city of Upland. He followed me around doing the same thing, by the way, with his communication device. So this is the entity that's engaged in it. And that's what Chin of Upland Police did. Followed me into the grocery store. And I'm in the back of the grocery store after having done nothing that's suspicious or unlawful. Why are you here? Okay, he's going to prison, and so is the third party that's engaging in harassment as an entity. And you watch them very rapidly unwind. On the basis of a license plate, why are you all of a sudden motivated to engage in following me around? Even if you did, say someone did take a picture of your license plate, so what? What is it about that makes you then not try to act like you're not stalking? Then you're overtly stalking, and you think that you have license to do so now because someone took a picture of your license plate? No, that's the demon that's already stalking in the first place. That is very fearful. It's actually a spirit of fear. But they're fearful, and they engage in what is harassing and stalking overtly when they are being documented. Okay, and this is documentation that they are already aware of. You're exceptionally psychotic, and that's acting on behalf of the entity. This is an entity that's engaging in that, and I'm referring to the demon that's in the video that's associated everybody that I document, the entire city of Upland. This is the U.S. military, the U.S. government's pattern of conduct. Is going to be prosecuted for every syllable coming out of his mouth. He committed a battery. Now, he touches me, now if I go touch his car, it'd be a problem, right? If I touch his face, it will be a problem. This is not a man. And this is a spirit, and it's also one that is scared of me. And if I respond, it's the end of the world. That's why you're going to prison, by the way. They're going to federal prison. You're also going to federal prison because it's the U.S. military. It's the city police that are putting their hands on you, that are following you around, that are harassing you while they're stalking you in helicopters and monitoring your genitalia in the bathroom and stalking you in a building under a whole fake sun. Psychopaths. You're going to prison. So, and you're going to be subject to what are commitments, but this is nonetheless what the entity is engaging in, and they're doing so while they are engaging in the criminal activity, and then the cowards are very much fearful, and then engaging in an ongoing campaign, pacing and slamming and stalking and pacing while I'm in sounding sirens. while I'm uploading the evidence. Very, very much cowards. Okay. The entities engage in also that's mentally ill behavior. The behavioral health concern presented by the demon possessed is one that also mandates martial law. Okay. But this is the pattern of conduct from the city of Ontario to the city of Upland. Alrighty, and you're also understanding high malice, low intelligence, while the entity covers up the fake sun, only until I enter the Upland Public Library. Which, again, you are brighter than the demons that are gang stalking me. You already knew that the people of the state, the demons that work at Upland Public Library, are going to prison. You're already aware of the fact that the fake sun is in a whole other city, and it's a matter of evidence that's on the record when they followed me on Hope Boulevard under that fake sun in commercial airline planes as a population stalking on the roads and the highways. You already knew that. You knew the significance of what Fabiola was doing while I'm on the phone, and the entity is having a field day doing cartwheels and planes in front of that San Bernardino County TAD office. It's only the demons that are stuck on the moment while they obsess over me. They don't think about anything outside of that. And that's how I'm able to prosecute, because they are absolutely inferior in every regard. It is currently 3:04 p.m. and this is P.O.C. This is the city of Upland that is currently under corrupt leadership by vagina monitors that do include Bill Velto. It includes demons like COLLIN, SHEEHY. That would be Daniel Muncie, who is the fire chief that's engaging in what is domestic terrorism. He's a gang stalker, so he's not a fire chief, and the entity is going to be removed. You're looking at the entity that's maintaining surveillance. That's not sunlight on the grass. This is the same demon that's inside of the Upland Public Library, outside maintaining ongoing systematic monitoring. This is the basis of federal prison. He's pacing on behalf of the demons that are stalking by helicopter this morning. He was outside doing that as well, summoning. And the moment that I stand up is when the sirens sound. Everybody in here, including Joy, are gang stalking. All right, the mentally ill conduct themselves as though nothing is happening, and that does not create reality that nothing is happening. That is creating what is the legislation to categorically assess a population of the mentally ill that thereby form what is a national security threat to the American people. This is the P.O.C. That's criminal summoning, monitoring my movement. That's impossible inside. They're all in here stalking. They're not clever. They're not. This is P.O.C. Alrighty, and it is 5:22 p.m. All right, so there's no vantage point where the sun is going to show. It's not in Los Angeles. These are demons that are stalking under a fake sun, and those are demons sounding sirens. There's no emergency that the city that has a fake sun is learning about. They're not going anywhere. They're not doing anything other than monitoring, and they're monitoring my vagina. And they have minor children engaging in sexual violence of that nature inside of a library. And this is what employees inside of the city library, like Joy, are going to prison for, amongst many other things. The entities engaged in this, the 5:22 p.m. fake sun that you just saw, it will be captured in images. And this is going to be the podcast, but I'm capturing real-time images as I'm capturing this audio. The fake sun is over the same venue that it is at 10 o'clock when I entered, where you saw all the demons that are gang stalking with little children. Those little children are monitoring spirits. They're engaged in criminal activity with the demons that are sounding sirens, monitoring, stalking one person inside of a building where they're all engaging in what is the ritual, okay? That Upland is engaging in the ritualistic conduct of gang stalking is the evidence of treason. And it's also speaking to the necessity of martial law. Alrighty, this is P.O.C. It is currently 5:23 p.m. Helicopter activity by the same U.S. military and Marcelo Blanco, the Upland Police Department, the city of Upland, are being prosecuted for it. It's occurring at 6:40 p.m. while I am in the midst of putting together the podcast, speaking to the entity that engaged in harassment on behalf of the psychopaths that are stalking by helicopter with regard to this is supposed to be retaliation in the mind of a psychopath that's a violent sex offender that's going to prison, that's going to be prosecuted as an enemy of the United States. Nonetheless, this is the entity that's engaging it, and I'm documenting it. Alyssa, Adam Tucker, Kiki, Joy, The employees that include Carissa, they are all going to federal prison. The entity's gang stalking with the library full of third parties who are monitoring, and they're engaged in what is stalking inside of a building. This is the mentally ill population. That helicopter activity Sunday at 6:40 p.m. Pursuant to monitoring on my device, the same pattern of conduct, the same Title 18 federal stalking behavior as exhibited by those that include the Fontana Police Department, the U.S. military's pattern of conduct, the Ontario Police Department, the U.S. military, same criminal pattern of conduct. And this is where I'm showing you the fake sun that's over the same building roof as I captured in images for your viewing ability after 5 p.m. Okay, this is the people of the state that are sharing in mental illness and are sharing in terrorism with the demons that stalk me in helicopters, and the people of the state are being prosecuted as enemies of the United States. This is P.O.C. It is currently 6:41 p.m.
Alrighty, this entity that's engaged in the pattern of conduct. Germans being deported, okay? The entity's engaged in molestation with Ontario police is a psychopath. They're stalking together as an entity. Today, what you're going to pay attention to is the entity is documented on April 12th, 2026, stalking by plane, just like this, as I'm documenting, and then I juxtapose that. He's pacing. This is a psychopath, and he was stalking at 280 North Lemon last night. He's going to prison. License 1706921, 1127, and they're very suicidal. This is stalking with the Ontario Police, 5YVN335. German's also going to prison. He's being deported. And this is Chevron that's engaging in the pattern of conduct with the City of Ontario. And this is also the entity that's inside of the Upland Public Library, for example, stalking by the City of Upland while I'm documenting the podcast of them stalking by helicopter this morning. That was an ongoing so-called ambush, okay? Germans in here engaging in, I documented him waging false allegations, accusing me of stealing. When you're monitoring my vagina, you know very well I didn't steal anything. And he's stalking with the Ontario police. He's going to prison, okay? German's not a natural-born citizen. He is going to be subject to deportation. And he is not coincidentally studying his device and keeping his back to me as well. He's listening to everything that I'm saying. This is P.O.C. with the Ontario police. This makes them feel better. They're going to be in prison. All right, that's the pattern of conduct. The entities engaged in that, they're over here. They're just floating in the sky space, stalking throughout the City of Ontario. They're stalking at the St. George Catholic Church, which is at the same corner. They're engaging what is doing cartwheels over that parking lot, which is beyond the Starbucks. Ontario police engaged in kidnapping right here at this Starbucks. This is what they engage in while Chevron, the corporation, is being federally prosecuted. This is confirming what I documented on April 12, 2026. This is indeed federal prison. This is a sexual assault and battery. This is a psychopath. License 5YVN335. This is the City of Ontario, the gangs. Okay, Paul Leon's not staying in office. Neither is Bill Velta. Okay, Marcelo Blanco is being federally prosecuted. That's prison as a terrorist leader. The same with Mike LORENZ. The U.S. military are homosexual psychopaths. So are the demons of the city. But these are the U.S. military. They're a bunch of psychopathic homosexuals whose criminal activity is based on their demon possession, and they're engaging in satanic means of surveillance. Psychotic. With asinine, because it's so psychotic and it's obvious. There is no airport takeoff over here, no destination. They're not headed to a destination over there. And that homosexual in the Ontario police vehicle is stalking. This is exactly what he did with the Ontario police in that video, which I took images of it actually. And they're stalking, flying west over the 280 North Lemon Apartments senior citizens, while that same demon is stalking in the path with the people of the state at that senior citizen complex. You see them flying what is north of that complex now, stalking me with Ontario police, doing cartwheels over the downtown Ontario luxury apartments, engaging in sexual assault and battery. This is what an entity is doing while they're hostile. They're still going to prison. They're still being disbanded. They're still being prosecuted for treason. And this is mental illness shared. ARCO's being prosecuted as well. Starbucks employees are already going to prison. The demons that are sharing in that pattern of conduct, including this demon, German, they're going to prison. This is P.O.C. Okay? This is the entity that engages in that, but you're dealing with the mentally ill, and that's what you have, a body of evidence showing them engaging in the same unprofitable. You're not profiting from that other than me gathering evidence against you. That's the entity doing so outside of what's published on the website. These are the airlines that are stalking me in Upland, California. Also no destinations over there, while they're in furtherance of murder, stalking with light, psychopaths. Okay? Pacing in that engineer light. Okay, that's the P.O.C. And that makes a psychopath feel better. I just want to be clear. Mike LORENZ, the demons of the Ontario police, he went to his vehicle, then he walked to the trash can, then he walked back to, he was pacing. You're witnessing their mental illness, okay? It's also mental illness that you're witnessing while they engage in those patty ambush tactics. You're going to prison. You're being prosecuted for treason. You're being deported out of the country. You're being prosecuted as terrorists, What is it that you are gaining? Okay, this is the entity that's intimidated by me. These are a bunch of homosexual, effeminate males. They're not men. And moreover, they're not even human. They're demon possessed. Satan is using them, and they make very imprudent, foolish, stupid decisions. Okay, that demon's going to prison, and he knows it. The one that's right here in my face in that Ontario police vehicle, going to prison. Okay, Chevron stalking me, psychopathic pacing. At night, same thing with Arco, psychopathic pacing by helicopter. That entire department is illegitimate, and everything that they're engaged in, which is shared by the entity that is engaging in that pattern of conduct. This is California Highway Patrol. Or is this Upland Police in Ontario? That's California Highway Patrol, okay? Gavin Newsom, that's engaging in domestic terrorism in the state of California, appointing the terrorist over California Highway Patrol that is documented gang stalking me on the roads and the highways, the freeways, far from Ontario, and the fake son was over me and they were gang stalking the same. That's the entity that's engaging in that. They are surrounded with evidence as well. I just want to be clear, it's currently 7:48 p.m. That's the entity that's obsessed with me, seeks out attention from me. What's the attention that you're witnessing that they're getting? Evidence regarding what is establishing federal legislation to prosecute what is a mentally ill population for the protection of the American public. They're going to be locked down by martial law. Their demon-possessed kids aren't even going to school because we all know they're not even interested in education. That's why these vagina monitors under the age of 18 can't read, but they're monitoring you though. And they're monitoring your genitalia. They're sex offenders. Stalking with the government that's using airports to engage in surveillance, not actual legitimate business. Okay, that means everybody that has a job at the airport is engaging in what is funding and facilitating terrorism. There will be no airport in Ontario. There will be no police department, fire department. The California Highway Patrol won't be able to gang stalk in Ontario, California anymore, like I have them under the fake sun throughout the duration of the day. Fake sunrise at Chevron, by the way, 6 a.m. in the morning, where you also know the fake sun is setting at that Starbucks after 6 p.m., after 7 p.m. through the drive-through window. California Highway Patrol is indeed gang stalking. While they want to cross path in this video, they are surrounded with evidence as well, far beyond Ontario, California. This is the P.O.C. It is currently 7:49 p.m. You're going to refer to what I'm documenting because, as I told you, the P.O.C. regarding surveillance, not only a relevant position around me while the entity of demons are stalking me, and they have failed in sacrificing me. They've sacrificed themselves. They've also sacrificed their mental well-being. You can see psychopaths that are stalking me. They're mentally ill. They're incompetent. Okay? The entity is engaging in what is monitoring on the venue of the internet. So this is the documented pattern. As I publish evidence, I publish evidence regarding Chevron. You have all these vagina monitors that are sitting there waiting for me to walk by Chevron. That literally was, all of that is about me. This is worship, okay? They worship me. They engage in rituals surrounding my vagina. They seek out my bodily fluids. They are stalking me in places like the bathroom, stalking me as I'm walking down the street. And that's exactly what this video shows, how you are stalking me while I'm walking down the street using commercial airline companies that don't have anything else to do. You know why? Because they're engaged in surveillance. This is all evidence that always deflects right back to the terrorists themselves who are going to be federally prosecuted. Southwest Airlines, every commercial airline company, a prosecution for treason. And I bet you're not considering that when you engage in futile, juvenile, sophomoric tactics that are not retaliation. It satisfies the demons, which is making them mentally ill. They're psychotic, and the mentally ill are going to prison because they are so incompetent and they are incapable of responding to the evidence within the P.O.C. In fact, they continuously engage in that cycle, confirming the truth of what it is that I've already shown you. These are the mentally ill that have to be separated from the American public. This is Mike LORENZ showing you the mental illness while a puppet of that department shares in the P.O.C. And they're going to federal prison for that. They're also being disbanded. Okay, that's P.O.C. It's currently 7:50 p.m. This is a testimony regarding what I continuously publish. Pay attention to my social media on YouTube. I publish the totality the rest of the day for April 12, 2026. Look at where I'm addressing what is Chevron at 506 North Euclid Avenue. This is giving you context regarding the demons that are hostile with every video that I publish, every podcast that I publish, while you're stalking me by helicopter inside of the Upland Public Library, while you're stalking me at the Chevron that I'm publishing evidence about, and I'm gonna prosecute Chevron for that. Chevron is a domestic terrorist under the law. Chevron's engaged in treason under Article 3, Section 3. That's unprecedented damages that Chevron has never contemplated, and I'm going to prosecute Chevron with the criminal activity of their own demon-possessed employees. That's P.O.C. It is currently 7:51 p.m. Alrighty, it is currently 7:57 p.m. So I captured license plates of those that are inside of the venue of Downtown Ontario Luxury Apartments who are sharing in the ambush, criminal monitoring, retaliatory, mentally ill, psychologically torturous, and criminal activity in furtherance of my murder, while they're sharing in federal stalking with the U.S. military and the Ontario Police Department, while they are gang stalking, as I documented, by commercial plane, by the department, Ontario Police Department, and the people of the state that engage in molestation via the demon in the white SUV, who did not fill up her gas tank, by the way. Pay attention to what she's doing. She's getting in position with regard to pacing by the demon in the police uniform. Very psychopathic behavior, very mentally ill behavior when you're dissecting that psychologically regarding what is wrong with the demons of the Ontario Police, sharing in that psychopathic pacing with commercial planes, one proceeding west and another proceeding west and then doing a cartwheel. That's the psychopathic pacing that the demon is doing in the police uniform, going back and forth and back and forth. That is conducted as a group of demons when they are engaging in that together. You are looking at that in this engineer environment. You're looking at that when you see the freeway, when you're seeing traffic. The demon possessed are mentally ill and they are all together pacing. They're monitoring everyone everywhere. And this state actor in the Ontario Police vehicle, he's going to be subject to mental examinations, and he is subject to federal prison by virtue of having a gun on his waist while he's stalking me. And he's also engaging in psychological torture. German, the employee inside of that Chevron, he's engaging in a documented history of gang stalking. He's doing so with the corrupt police department, which is an immediate threat to my life, which is mandating federal prison. German is likely, like I stated in that video, a candidate of deportation. He's also engaged in what is criminal defamation, maliciously waging allegations that you know that are not true because you're engaged in monitoring my vagina. That's speaking to the level of surveillance that you're engaging in while you make any and all allegations. The entities engaging in this while they are stalking inside of Sarah's Regis, which is what I want to get to. You see in the video doing cartwheels over the Downtown Ontario Luxury Apartments at 320 North Euclid Avenue is Downtown Luxury Apartments, Sarah's Regis Group engaging in the pattern of conduct, and everybody in there, I just documented a series of license plates, are sharing in that criminal pattern of conduct. That's identifying terrorists while they're sharing in that psychopathic group conduct where a population is conspiring together the murder of one that they are obsessively stalking down to that person's genitalia. This is a population of sex offenders, a population of the mentally ill, and this is going to be recognized by necessity for the protection of the American public. The demon possessed are a threat to the nation. While they engage in this with those outside of the United States, they're a threat to the American people. While they engage in it with the corrupt government such as the U.S. military, they are a threat to the American people, and the people of the state are being federally prosecuted as corporate entities. They are the people of the state. And while I document your license plate, your name, your address, your social security number, whatever I have to use against you, I'm going to use it and I'm going to prosecute you, and they will be prosecuted as domestic terrorists. This is P.O.C. That's relevant to the evidence that's going to be added to the prosecution of the people. Those license plates will be added to that video, and they are gang stalking like the entity is now. Like I stated in the video, why are they flying over Chevron? Because you're not coming from the airport in a straight line, flying over the city hall, over the Ovid Family Community Library. You are targeting while they're engaging in that, and that's pathetic. But you're going to prosecute the pathetic with the evidence of targeting, stalking, and it's a serious act of terrorism, treason, in fact, that the U.S. military is engaging in what is attacking, stalking, monitoring, conspiring against an American citizen. It is treason that has yet to be founded within Article 3, Section 3, but it is absolutely within the Constitution. It is also treason because the U.S. military that is stalking an American citizen on U.S. soil is doing so in concert with those that are not even a part of this nation. The betrayal of the U.S. military, of the U.S. government. It's the same with the people of the state, the betrayal while you're on American soil. And this is also why they will be divorced from any and all benefits as constituents. You're talking about not getting any government benefits. You will be labeled as a terrorist, and that is the end of any and all benefits. You are here, and that's if you're not deported. That's whenever you get out of prison, if that's what you're subject to, whenever you get out of the mental institution, if that's what you're subject to. But it will be a matter of public information, and that is going to change now that it is exposed that terrorists are here amongst us. They will not be enjoying the same freedoms and the same entitlements and benefits that the enemy is here amongst us. Okay, this is P.O.C. It is currently 8:02 p.m.